1. Boom. And we are live with another edition of the NFL special. My guy, Jordan Foote, Kansas City Chiefs writer, Sports Illustrated, Inner Circle. How are you doing today?
Max, I'm good, man. Glad to be back.
I'm getting better and better at that intro, right?
Every time, man, getting more efficient.
Yeah, I'm just straight to the point. Yeah, straight
Yep.
to the point. Nice and crisp. Man, what a weekend of football. We just had Alabama literally roll through Ohio State. Devontae Smith, oh my gosh. He had 3 touchdowns in the first half. He made it look so easy, Jordan. So easy.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't want to be that guy, but like if the Chiefs can trade a couple first round picks to go up and get him at 32 and Patrick Mahomes is throwing to Devontae Smith next year, I would not be mad. That'd be ridiculous, but I would
Oh
not be mad.
gosh, he made it look so easy. His route running, his
hmm
footwork, he's so lanky. So he gets to
Yeah.
stand on everything. It was what a performance by Alabama. Nick
hmm
Saban, my opinion, greatest college coach of all time.
I
6
agree.
championship. This dynasty, it's ridiculous. But we're talking NFL. So before we get into this week's picks, let's kind of reflect a little bit on last week. And the first thing I want to get to you is the Browns Steelers, right? So you and
hmm
I, very early in the season, I wouldn't say, I mean, maybe not extremely early, but when they were still undefeated, you and I were like, we're not sold on the Pittsburgh Steelers, and we think they can get upset very early in the playoffs. I wasn't sure if it was actually going to be the Cleveland Browns who did it. I just didn't see them making a huge or deep playoff run. For one, were you surprised by what you saw? Because it's not like they just lost. Like they gave up 28 points in the first quarter. They got smacked. Like it just looked like they quit. So were you surprised on what you saw from Pittsburgh?
Yeah, I was. I like Big Ben is prone to turnovers and bad plays, but he's not prone to like 4 interceptions in a game. And after one quarter, it was 28 zip. Like, how do you can't come back from that unless you have someone like Patrick Mahomes on the other side. So, I mean, Pittsburgh made it close a little bit in that game, but overall, I was super surprised with what I saw from the Steelers. And also on the other end, Cleveland played a really good game.
They did. And I always said I think Stefanski should definitely be in consideration, at least for Coach of the Year, because I know everyone wants to say, look at Baker, look at Baker, look at Baker. And I'm not saying Baker didn't play a good game. I'm just saying what he's been able to do, Stefanski, as the head coach, to change the culture, to recognize the strengths and weaknesses, the run game. Clearly, he has a lot of weapons to work with. I've been more impressed with Stefanski than anything. Is that, I
Yeah.
don't think that's controversial, or would you agree with me there?
No, I agree because like the look, Baker Mayfield deserves a ton of credit for what he's done this year. He's grown a lot, he's gotten better, but there's a reason he's gotten better. Like the game hasn't been put in his hands as many times. They're running the ball a lot, they're getting play action going. And when you have that threat of the run like Cleveland has, play action's going to work almost every time. Like
Yeah.
the defense is going to bite and think that you're running and kind of stack the box to stop the run. That opens up the field a lot for Baker. And I don't want to say that Odell Beckham's a bad player, but he's a bad fit with Cleveland. And I
Yeah.
think his injury might have been like a blessing in disguise to kind of open up that offense as a whole.
That's a great point because I felt like when he was playing, Baker felt obligated to throw it to him. So it didn't allow him to recognize other opportunities, in which now he doesn't have that pressure of doing so. But for Pittsburgh, what do you do? I think Big Ben, hey, it's time to move on. That's just
Yeah.
my, but the Steelers organization isn't an organization that's known for moving on from their quarterback or for their head coach or firing their head coach. So if you're Pittsburgh, what would you do?
You got to hope that Big Ben bows out and retires because you don't want to cut him. He carries that $41 million cap hit. So if he
Yeah.
retires, then things get a lot easier and you can kind of. The thing with them is like they don't have a great draft spot. They're going to be, what, 24th in the draft. So I don't know if a guy like Trey Lance even falls that far if you roll the dice on a Mac Jones. Like they're in a tough spot. Mason Rudolph, I don't think, is that guy long term. They
No.
have enough talent on that team to where like they shouldn't bottom out and completely tank. I think they're too good for that, but they're also not good enough to win a Super Bowl until they get another quarterback.
Right, right. I was transitioning to the Colts game. I was close. I was close. They battled. I was texting you because I was like, man, I was busy at the time, so I'm like rushing home to get to the game, and I'm like, man, they're right there. And I was like, yep, should have went with my mind, not my gut. This week, this is a very interesting week, Jordan, and I'm really interested to see what picks that you have. So we talked about the Browns, talked about their culture. I think culture is more important than talent. And if you're
hmm
able to change that culture, the talent will come because
Yep.
it attracts talent. I mean, look at the Knicks. The Knicks have had good players. The Magic have had good players, but the culture's not there. When you
Mm-hmm.
have the culture, like Kevin Durant talked about it in free agency. He went to Brooklyn before he wasn't even considering the Knicks because you look at the culture. Look at what Tom Brady's done with Tampa. We'll get into the Tampa Bay Saints game. But as far as Tom and what we've seen already in the playoffs, the culture has changed, in my opinion. And I think it's changed pretty early because normally you need a season to work some things out. And I think I'm already starting to recognize the culture shift. Have you?
Yeah, absolutely. And look, Tom Brady doesn't mess around. There's a reason he has 6 rings on his hands. He does not mess around. He says, like, if you want to jack around, either don't be here or wait until after the season. Like, we have a goal in mind. We want to win. We want to do well. And that's a Tom Brady led team. And like, Bruce Arians is kind of the, oh, we're going to get out of practice early. We're going to go golf and have something to eat. Like, he's not a slacker, but he's kind of a more laid back type of
Yep.
head coach. He's a little volatile too because him and Tom have clashed heads this season. So I was a little worried that their like personalities wouldn't gel
Yeah.
together completely. And I think still, like, I went on a show the other day. I'm still waiting on everything to click for Tampa Bay, and they're in the divisional round. Like, that's scary because next year, if they get even better, that's a Super Bowl caliber team. And I think that the culture thing you mentioned with Brady is super accurate.
Cool. Well, I couldn't agree more. Let's transition into this week's playoff. So we're going to start off Rams, Packers. For me, it's the Rams. First of all, they upset Seattle. Not that I didn't see that coming. It's just I predicted Seattle to win that
Yeah.
game. So I was incorrect with that. But I still am not a believer as far as not that Jared Goff can't play. I just don't have as much confidence in Jared Goff as I do in other quarterbacks. For example, Aaron Rodgers. So that being said, I'm going to go with the Packers and Aaron Rodgers. I feel they will get the job done against the Rams. What are your thoughts on that game?
Yeah, I agree. I think the Rams do have a path to upsetting them, but it comes down to it being a bad matchup for Aaron Rodgers. Like, it was San Francisco last year where he struggled with them twice. It
Yeah.
was Tampa Bay this year where they blew them out of the water. If the Rams defense can slow them down and Ramsey can like not take Adams out of the game, because no one's going to take Devontae Adams completely out of a game, but if he can like slow him down just a bit, my thing is like, can the Rams even put up enough points even then to keep
Right.
up with Green Bay? Like, I think Green Bay's going to score 28 points. And can the Rams score 28? I'm not sure they do, because the 30 they scored against Seattle, a lot of that came from turnovers and good field position and stuff like that. It's not like Goff went down and led
Right.
a bunch of scoring drives. Like, I think that I'm going to keep it close. I think it'll be like a 5 or 6 point game, but I think Green Bay definitely has enough to get it done.
Okay, and I agree. That's such a great point. Just because you score X amount of points, how did you score those points?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I'm not impressed with the Rams offense. Okay, so no disagreement there. We're both rolling with the Packers. Let's go to the Ravens Bills. This is a very interesting game for me because, of course, yes, I predicted the Colts to beat the Bills. Did not happen. A lot of people are high on the Bills right now. A lot of people are high on Josh Allen. You and I are both Lamar Jackson guys as well. Baltimore Bills, break it down to me. What are you looking for in this game? Path to victory for both teams, and who are you rolling with?
Literally, I got like zero clue. Like, about, I've flip flopped a billion times, but man, this is going to be the best game of the weekend. I think, like,
Yeah.
maybe the best game of the year. Like, if it doesn't live up to the hype, I'm going to be upset, because you've got Lamar Jackson, who finally has that playoff monkey off of his back, got a playoff win. You've got Josh Allen, who, if it weren't for Rodgers and Mahomes, he'd be the MVP this season. He's been playing out of his mind, and
Yeah.
it's two really, really talented offenses. The Bills' defense can't stop the run to save their lives up front. So I think Baltimore, if they can keep Allen off of the field, like, Buffalo's going to have to capitalize on almost every opportunity they get. And Baltimore, they just have to play their game, I think. So my mind is saying that Baltimore is going to win this game, but I just have a gut feeling that something weird's going to happen. So my score is 28-27 Bills. I don't know if it's going to be a missed extra point or an extra field goal here or a safety, but like, there's going to be that 1 point that Baltimore just can't overcome in the end, I think.
See, now you're doing what I did. Mind or gut? Which one are you going to roll with?
Yeah.
I went with my gut. My gut is telling me Baltimore. My mind is telling me Bills. So this time, I'm going to split the difference, and I'm going to go the Bills.
Okay.
I just think they have the right momentum. Josh Allen, just the coaching. I just think they have the better not that Baltimore's can't even. Wow, that's hard to make that argument too because right now the way Baltimore's clicking is they're gaining that momentum.
Yeah.
I'm gonna roll with the Bills. I just think that they're going to be like to your point. I don't know what it is that's going to take place in the game for them to edge it out. I do think that the Ravens could obviously win, and I do think it's the game of the week. But I'm going to roll with the Bills as well. Gosh, this is such a tough pick, Jordan. Yeah, yeah, I'm going to roll with the Bills. Man, that's tough.
It's hard, bro.
Yeah, that's tough. Yeah, the gut and the mind game. It gets me every time. It gets me every time.
I already want to change my mind again. Like this is the hardest game of the year I've ever had to pick.
Yeah, because I can't go against the Bills twice because then I end up going against them a third time if they play the Chiefs. I know it. So yeah, I'm all right. So I'm gonna roll with the Bills. Now, as far as Lamar Jackson, let's just say the Bills win. Would you? This isn't a disappointing offseason for him, though, right? Because he won his playoff game. He loses this game. He silenced the doubters, right? This isn't a must-win game for him and his legacy. He's still so young.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that, man, I don't think it's a must-win game. Like, certain people will definitely paint it as a must-win game, and if he doesn't throw for, like, 400 yards and 5 touchdowns, he's a choker or whatever. But for the rational-minded people like us, I think that he's done just fine.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. Transition to the Browns and the Chiefs. Your very own Kansas City Chiefs, so I'll let you break down that a little bit. The one concern I'm going to express, because I'm going to roll with the Chiefs this game, is they were my prediction to repeat their slow starts, right? So last postseason, you get behind Deshaun Watson and the Texans, you have a historic comeback. You get behind the 49ers. They just played from behind every single game. And it's like they haven't played the best in December, but I still think they're the best team. So can they afford to that slow start against the Browns? Is this becoming a trend? Is this a bad habit? What is this with the Kansas City Chiefs and the slow starts?
Man, I think it might be. Like, we're going to get either a Chiefs team that comes out and just flat out dominates in this game, or we're going to get a Chiefs team that played the Falcons where they kind of messed around. They just seemed not in the game, like not focused. Like, it's not that they're not interested, because obviously they are, but like when Golden State had Durant that first year and they were like blowing teams out by 30 and then they would bench everyone or they would start making stupid passes and stuff like that. That's kind of what it reminds me of. Like, not to that degree exactly, but they have bigger goals in mind. Then come playoff time, Golden State turned it up and got all the way there. So the Chiefs, like, I think that's possible. Like, if they come out and have a big game, my pick next week will feel a lot better. But, man, hats off to the Browns. Like, they're a really good team. They play okay defense. They're a little bit banged up right now with COVID going on and all that. But if Baker cannot turn the ball over, if they can run the ball and keep Mahomes off the field, anything can happen. But I'm going to go with the Chiefs. I'm going to go 38-24. I think that they're going to come out super focused and super sharp. And the Browns, like, hats off to them, but I just don't think they have enough to keep up if the Chiefs are on their game.
And in a weird way, do you think the Chiefs are kind of hearing the criticism about the slow starts? Maybe that's a little motivation. Okay, guys, look, I know we do this a lot and we know we're good, but now we really got to show that we're not, this isn't a habit. Do you think that plays a little bit of a role in it?
Oh, I think so for sure. And Patrick Mahomes is petty. Like, they played the Bears and he scored a touchdown and counted on his hands to 10 because that's how many teams passed on him or whatever. Then they played, I think it was Baltimore, and Mahomes counted to 4 after a touchdown because he was ranked the 4th best player in the league behind Lamar. Like, that dude is very, very petty. So I don't know what he's going to count to when they play Cleveland or when they eventually play Buffalo or whatever, but I think he has heard it, and he'll never say he has because that's just what athletes do. But I think the Chiefs have been listening a little bit.
The all-time greats are all petty.
Yeah.
The all-time greats are all petty.
Yeah.
I mean, we know Michael Jordan's stories, right? Oh, he didn't look at me during dinner. Okay, watch how I play. It's like, wait, what? He didn't make eye contact with dinner. And so then you look at LeBron James. Obviously, you look at Tom Brady. You look at the all-time greats. They're always going to find something like, okay, I got you. And so, yeah, that's a great point. I think we're both rolling. So right now, we're all in agreement. Oh, no, you're wrong. Yeah, we are. Okay, so we're going Packers, Bills, Chiefs. 3 for 3.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're going to go into the fourth. We talked about the culture changer. Bucks, we got the Saints, Tom Brady, Drew Brees. the battle between the old guys. This is an interesting one for me. Who are you rolling with and why? Because I'm very curious to see what you say here.
I'm going New Orleans 24-20, and I could see it going either way. Like, this is another tough one, I think, but Tampa is really stubborn on defense, and they blitz the hell out of everybody. And New Orleans has Alvin Kamara and Drew Brees, who will dump the ball off to him as many times as he has to. They have Michael Thomas, who's called Slant Thomas for a reason, rightfully so or not. But, man, it's going to be a good matchup, I think. The Saints' defense is really good. If they can put pressure on Brady, and if Brees can handle the pressure thrown his way, I think New Orleans has a pretty good path to victory. But it's also hard to count against the GOAT, so it's a tough one to pick.
I'm rolling with the Saints too. So right now we're 4-4. We're like the Wendy's.
Okay, cool.
Right now. I'm rolling with the Saints as well, but what do the Bucs have to do to win this game? Because obviously they played before earlier in the season. They lost to the Saints. What does the Bucs have to do to not let that happen again?
Man, they have to score.
Yeah, just
they have to score points. They have to score points because, like, on defense, they're going to blitz New Orleans either way, and I think that there's going to be a lot of long drives there. But if Mike Evans can stay somewhat healthy and run routes and catch balls, if Gronk can be there, if Godwin can be effective, AB got involved against Washington. So I think they just have to perform better than they have on offense because, like, they left a lot of points on the field against Washington. There were field goal drives. They kept doing that. If they do that against the Saints, they're not going to be able to win. So I think the offense just has to play a little bit better in order for them to have a better chance to win.
What are your thoughts on Antonio Brown? Do you think that, like him with the Bucs right now, is he due for a good breakout game, or what are your thoughts on his his fit with Tom and the Bucs?
I'm happy for him. I mean, I think if any team was going to bring him in and he'd do well, it would be Tampa with Tom Brady. He's had a couple good games where he's gotten some jet sweeps and like short passes he's taken for long routes. He had a touchdown last week. So I'm happy for AB. I think that really with all the weapons on that offense, it's hard for one guy to have a breakout when you have Godwin and Evans ahead of you. But he's a game breaker still. He doesn't have quite that burst that he used to have, but AB is still AB. So it definitely could happen.
Right. Jordan, we are 4-4. I don't know how to feel about this. Are we going to be on fire? Usually you and I agree quite a bit, but usually there's always a disagreement or two. I'm like, okay, I'll do this. I think we may be looking at a sweep here. I really do. The Ravens-Bills game is the game that's like I'm really starting to – that's the one game I could see where we're wrong on. That's pretty much that. I mean, of course, the NFL is really unpredictable, especially come playoff time. I think we can go 0-4. But just how I feel right now, I feel a lot more confident on these picks, almost a little bit more than I did last week. So Ravens and Bills is the game for you to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the winner of that game, both of those teams can give Kansas City trouble because, like, if the Chiefs play their B game on Sunday against the Browns, I think they could still win. If they play their B game against Buffalo or Baltimore, I think it's going to be tough for them to win. So both of these teams are going to be super fun to watch moving forward, whichever one can pull out the victory.